Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from grief to living. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science, they go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity, it's something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. You know, we light our chalice every Sunday to set a spiritual intention about why we gather, who we are as a people, that we may act more wisely, that we may love more deeply, that we may care more broadly, more generously. So may that be our intention. So may it be.
It's time now for our annual Blessing of the Backpacks ritual. Would all of our learners of all ages come forward and join Rev Makar at the table? Whether you're starting kindergarten or first grade, whether you're on to middle school or high school or college, come on down. If you're a career changer over 50 and you're going back to school, come on down too. You're invited to bring your briefcase or backpack or other symbol of learning with you, and if you forgot it, that's okay. Come on down.
Just stand right there. Great. Hi guys, good morning. Good morning, thank you for joining me up here. We've got some more folks coming. Come on, no career changers. Give me a break, come on. There we go. I want to invite you guys to join me for a responsive reading. Your part is to say, love will guide us. Can you say that with me just to practice? Love will guide us. Thank you. All right. So when I am starting school for the first time, or entering into a new grade, or moving from one school to another, or going back to school after many years, when I am feeling nervous, and when I am feeling excited, when I meet new friends in my classes, and when I meet my teachers, when I'm playing with my friends at recess, or when I'm meeting at a study group at a coffee house, when I am being taught something and maybe it's super easy to understand, maybe it's really hard to understand, when I'm busy doing homework, or when I need to take a break, when I ace a test, or when I don't do so well. May love guide you through all the ups and downs, wherever you may go, and this beloved community of West Shore is with you, loving you.
To each of you, we offer the gift of a special charm that you can clip onto your backpack or put in your pocket. It will remind you of the love and support of this beloved community that is with you no matter where you go. We want you to have a fantastic year. You are all so important to us.
While the gifts are being handed out, let's all be in prayer together. Close your eyes as you feel moved to do so. Spirit of life, as these, our learners, begin their studies, we ask a blessing on their backpacks. May they go into their learning with joy. May all who teach be blessed as well. May they inspire the learners under their care. And grant that all of us, in our lifelong journey of learning, see truth more clearly, love more deeply, and follow the ways of goodness more dearly. Let that be the blessing of our backpacks this day. Say with me, amen. Thank you. Folks, you may be seated. Blessings to you this year. Well, once again, folks, welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. How the heck are you? Good. Woo! Good, good. My name is Rev Anthony Makar. So glad to be back from my summer leave. Let me tell you, there's so many good things going on here at West Shore. Check out that insert in your order of service. So much good stuff, so many ways to meet friends, connect with people, learn cool things, grow your spirit. That's why we exist. Now, at this point, I'd like to ask two of our events committee members to come up here. Angeline Summers-Marvel and Don Bellinger, come on up. So they're going to bring us a visual reminder of something coming up for us on Sunday, September 10th, which is our annual, she hits me in the head, doesn't matter. It's like a blow-up. It's okay. Sunday, September 10th, our annual in-gathering service, when we're going to begin our program year with a bang. We're calling it our home opener. Can you say that with me? Home opener. Here we go. We're going to have an awesome service. And then afterwards, I want you to join us for our ballpark lunch. There's going to be a popcorn bar. We're going to have cookies. We're going to have a cotton candy lady. We're going to have a balloon artist. We're going to do face painting. There's going to be cornhole. There's going to be a bouncy house. We're going to have a dessert raffle. And you can also splash me with water balloons if you dare. It's a big day, and all of this is going to be followed at 2 p.m. with a concert featuring Emma's Revolution. Emma's Revolution. Now, if you do not know about Emma's Revolution, you want to know about Emma's Revolution. They are fantastic. They're a Unitarian Universalist duo. Everyone is welcome. There will be a free will offering, so come on down. It's all on September 10th. Bring family and friends. It is our home opener. Fun for all ages. Show some love to these guys. I don't know, that was some old-timey pitching, right? Now it's time for us to greet each other warmly. Look for someone you don't know and say hello to them. Say hi to folks that you do know during coffee hour. Children and youth are dismissed to the chapel where they're going to stuff backpacks for kids in need at Elmira School in the Denison neighborhood. So thank you to our children and youth for that. The greeting time is going to end with the sound of the bowl. You know that? Let's do it. Let's greet each other. come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all.
Rev Makar's sermon today is about Wonder Woman, one of my favorite characters. But I would like to introduce to you a real-life Wonder Woman who happens to be part of this congregation. This is none other than Joan Grace. And I get to tell you a little bit about why we think she's one of West Shore's Wonder Women. Gloria Beamer puts it like this: Joan is one of those wonderful people who work quietly and make things happen. She shows up, she's informed, she volunteers to do stuff, and she follows through, and it's not just about social justice. She's part of the Aesthetics Committee and participates in book groups. She's been such a worker for West Shore. I really feel that we should shine the spotlight on her, even though she would say, "Don't do that." But it is Joan's work of collecting signatures in support of adding a certain amendment to Ohio's Constitution. One that enshrines access to abortion that has come up again and again as people's source of admiration for Joan. She has been tireless in this work, and her efforts made a real difference. 413,000 signatures were needed to put this proposed amendment on the November ballot, and people like Joan helped make that happen. The goal was reached. As Gillian Cook says, the story I love most about Joan's adventures this past year to gather signatures is about the Avon Heritage Festival this past June. The festival was sponsored by Duck Brand Tape, so I'm calling this the Duct Tape event. Joan went to the duct tape event with the goal of collecting as many signatures as possible. On numerous occasions, she was told to stop. If she didn't stop, she'd be asked to leave. But she was dogged. Eventually, she ended up in the parking lot, continuing to ask for signatures. Joan, as we know, is a very petite, quiet woman who has the strength to persevere like no one I have ever met before. I am so lucky to know Joan and to call her my friend. Her clipboard was practically attached to her body during the process of collecting signatures to ensure that the bill would make it in November. And then there's this story from Kelly Pincus. Joan, Kelly says, carried petitions with her everywhere and would offer anyone and everyone a chance to sign. One day while shopping at Mark's, she stopped to offer the opportunity to a few shoppers in front of the store. In the process, one woman chastised her and said that, as an older woman, Joan should be against abortion. I'm sure Joan simply looked at her and moved along. I love the picture of Joan hitting up folks to sign at Mark's. I know she was relentless in pursuit of signatures and was always requesting new petitions to carry with her. The folks at Pro-Choice Ohio marveled at her spirit and her energy. She is an indomitable force for reproductive rights. Joan, We celebrate your leadership today. Thank you for showing up the way you do as a genuine Wonder Woman of West Shore. Be sure you come to coffee hour, where there will be a cake in Joan's honor. And thank you to everyone, because through your gifts of time, talent, and money, you are sustaining this community, which rallies people like Joan Grace to good works. The world needs more people like Joan, and it is communities like ours that help to make that possible. Today's offering will be given and gratefully received.
Now invited to share from the heart. These are some of our joys and concerns, the ones written down. But I'll be mindful of all that we are carrying in our hearts these days. And I'll take them into my meditations this week and pray for all that is our life.
I used to want to save the world. This beautiful place. But the closer you get, the more you see the great darkness within. I learned this the hard way, a long, long time ago.
What is your mission?
To stop the war.
What war?
The war to end all wars.
Weapons far deadlier than you can ever imagine.
The war can be ours.
Wherever you are in more danger than you think.
I cannot stand by while innocent lives are lost. Be careful, Diana.
Who is this woman?
She's my secretary, sir. She's a very good secretary.
It is our sacred duty to defend the world, and it's what I'm going to do.
August 27th, 2023. Dear Wonder Woman, from the time I was around 8 years old, I began to do something different after school. Usually I would walk from Riverside Elementary School to my dad's medical office. They were close to each other, and my dad's office was a safer place to be than in my own home. I'd walk to his office, say hi to the nurses up front, and then go straight back to the doctor's lounge, tossing my backpack onto a chair and pouring myself a cup of coffee. Cream? You bet. Sugar? As much as was humanly possible. Pretty soon, I was buzzing with energy. Always there was homework, but sometimes I'd get sidetracked by the medical textbooks lining the shelves. The titles could be ominous. One time, Dad popped in between examinations, and I happened to be flipping through a book entitled Dermatological Disorders of the Skin. Dad saw my horrified face, and he said, "Son, maybe that's a bit much for you right now. Listen, here's some money. Go down to the odd spot and get yourself a comic book. maybe have a snack next door. That was when I began to do the something different after school. Money burned a hole in my pocket as I wandered to the odd spot, which was a small grocery store with candy of all kinds, pops, and also a rickety, revolving metal comic book rack that squeaked when you turned it. Wonder Woman, that's when I first met you. You were on the cover of a comic book fighting the bad guys, and your magic lasso of truth was shining golden, and your dark hair was wild and flowing. It was enough to make my blood sing. Next door was the McNamara Cafe, owned by the parents of my arch nemesis at school. Arch nemesis because he was a really good artist, and he had won the school mascot competition with his drawing of a dragon. But that did not take away anything from how tasty the French fries covered in dark gravy tasted, or the tang of the orange pop that I drank. That's what I'd order, hunker down in one of the restaurant booths, and that's when I would read your comic books, story after story of your strength, your nobility, your beauty. What must that have looked like to innocent bystanders? But it came to an end. Dad moved the family from Peace River, Alberta, to Palestine, Texas. It was something about Canada's socialized health care, which he wanted to escape. As a medical doctor, he thought it was a very bad thing. So we moved, and everything changed. One of those changes was leaving you behind. There were no odd spots or McNamara cafes in Palestine, Texas. You and so many other things disappeared from my life. It's amazing how things can change like the flip of a light switch. And then that switch flipped again many years later with your 2017 blockbuster movie titled Wonder Woman. And I am writing you today because I realized something about you then that I did not consciously recognize back in my childhood days. Your loneliness. Which is ironic because I was so very lonely myself when I was younger. And loneliness is something I still know very well, and I see it everywhere around me. Your movie begins, and the screen is all darkness, but I hear your voice with its lush, exotic accent, and you speak of wanting to save the world, but also of learning about things the hard way. When finally the darkness fades and images appear on the screen, we see you. It is the present day. You are in your Diana Prince persona. You are walking down a corridor under the Louvre glass pyramid towards your office where you work as an expert in warfare-related antiquities. You are handed a briefcase, and you open to find a picture of yourself from 100 years earlier. It was World War I. You're in full Wonder Woman mode. You're surrounded by fellow fighters for freedom, but they were human. And they are long dead, all of them, including Steve Trevor, whom you loved. Only you survive to hold those memories. There is no one alive who saw what you saw or heard what you heard, such powerful loneliness to be the only one left. Aging is not for the faint of heart. Even for such a one as you, whose body will stay young forever. But each death of someone you love is an emotional blow, and blow after blow, the heart of even an immortal can feel beaten up. Both of my parents are dead, so I know. I honor this in you, Wonder Woman, and I honor it in all. But there's yet another kind of loneliness that is the main motivation for this letter. It's what happens when you show up in the world as Wonder Woman, or when anyone shows up in all of their wonderfulness. One writer I love, Aldous Huxley, put it like this: if one is different, one is bound to be lonely. That's the particular loneliness I am reaching out to you about, Wonder Woman, in this letter. One of your stories comes to mind. It's about your family, specifically your mom. She was the queen of the island, of the Amazon island of Themyscira, and she had plans for you. She wanted you to stay away from the world of humanity beyond the island. She wanted you to stay within the strictly female Amazon community and to assume your rightful role as queen to be. She had plans for you, but the wonderfulness in you made you want to go and save the world. It definitely made your mother fear for you. Perhaps it also threatened her a bit, in that you just might end up outshining her. Perhaps it was something else. Who can tell about the complexities of a parent's heart? What's for sure is that that conflict hurt you terribly. You felt rejected about the very thing that made you wonderful. Your mother, the queen, said this to you. She said, you know that if you choose to leave, you may never return. And Wonder Woman, you replied, who will I be if I stay? To stay and continue to be with family who would have compromised your life's meaning and joy, and you would have felt continually misunderstood and lonely. But to leave is to feel lonely too. Perhaps this could be seen as a matter of doing the least harm. The decision to leave would break some eggs, but the decision to stay would have broken a lot more. Do the least harm. Wonder Woman, this strikes me as the kind of terrible soul-searching anyone has got to go through when the wonderfulness inside of them nags them to disappoint others they love, or to leave circumstances that are basically comfortable but are slowly draining the joy away. What will my parents say? What will my husband/wife/partner say? What will my children say? What will my friends say? What will my church say? What will the world say? Wonder Woman, I so admire you because you knew that the question with the biggest consequences of all was, what will my soul say? Who will I be if I stay? But I must admit, the answer I would give to this as a man, or male identified, comes with less baggage than the answer you give to this as a woman, as female identified. As your mother well knew, the world beyond Themyscira was a world full of patriarchy, a world full of men and also women who patrol the boundaries of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate for a woman's station. And as an aside, Wonder Woman, I'm curious about what you would think about another movie that just came out this past summer, about a doll named Barbie, which has its own take on what patriarchy looks like. I'm just curious. To fight against patriarchy with all of its misogyny was the intent of your greatest champion among humans, Harvard psychologist William Moulton Marston. In a press release from the 1940s, he said that he, quote, wanted to set up a standard among children and young people of strong, free, courageous womanhood to combat, to fight the idea that women are inferior to men, and to inspire girls to self-confidence and achievement in athletics, occupations, and professions monopolized by men, because the only hope for civilization is the greater freedom, development, and equality of women in all fields of human activity, unquote. Marston was a feminist, inspired by the women's suffrage movements of the 1910s, which, among other things, promoted the use of birth control. Margaret Sanger was one of the key voices for this at the time, and Margaret Sanger was a member of Marston's family. Jill Lepore, writer for The New Yorker, gets straight to the point. Superman owes a debt to science fiction, Batman to the hard-boiled detective, Wonder Woman's debt, it's to feminism. One of the stories that illustrates the patriarchy of the world beyond Themyscira actually has to do with your superhero colleagues, like Superman, Batman, the Green Lantern, and the Flash. Together with them, you founded the Justice League of America because you knew, as I do, that there are things in this world that are too important and too big for any one individual to accomplish alone. Justice is one of these things. It is why I am a Unitarian Universalist minister. As my colleague, the Reverend Mark Morrison Reed, likes to say, the religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. Amen. But here's the thing, Wonder Woman. The role you took on as a member of that Justice League, the role that your male superhero peers and equals urged you to take, was that of the secretary. Your job was to take the meeting minutes. Never mind that you were and are arguably the most powerful of them all. Definitely the wisest. Because your style of being powerful is to blend hard power with soft power. When hard power is needed, because one's opponent is not going to yield and they're not going to be accountable, you got to bring it. You do, you bring it. And you do that with a frightening ferocity. But you are above all a lover of peace. You are nurturing. You are compassionate. You prefer diplomacy to blunt bashing. That's soft power. You are wisest of all. So let's give her the secretary position? That smacks of patriarchy. No doubt unconscious, because your superhero colleagues were your genuine friends. There was genuine friendship there. But patriarchy and misogyny, like racism, like ableism, like ageism, like all the other isms, they are things that get into people simply as a part of growing up. It's like pollution in the environment. There is no question that people have to breathe to live. So we breathe that pollution in. It gets inside us. And so we can say things and we can do things that feel natural, but they're hurtful. We unconsciously reproduce the ism. Maybe that's what explains something an associate minister I once worked with had to say. One day, she shared with me how she was being pecked to death by older women in the congregation about her hair, her shoes, how she did this, how she did that. She told me that the folks who gave her the most trouble in our socially and politically progressive liberal religious community were by far other women, not men. Now we're talking about things like the sisterhood ceiling or queen bees. Have you heard about this Wonder Woman? Essentially, it is when a woman shows up in all of her wonderfulness and other women blast her for it. It's women patrolling other women for signs of excessive sexuality or excessive ambition or excessive aggression. How lonely it can feel to be undermined by those who are of your own tribe and should know how bad it can get. How lonely to be a feminist. Threats come from everywhere. A writer I know, Susanna Weiss, she speaks to this when she talks about her fear in the here and now of revealing that she is a feminist. Susanna Weiss is afraid, and it comes, she says, from the college friend who told me, "You're not going to become an angry feminist now, are you?" It comes from the boyfriend who told me feminists have an anger complex that usually comes from being abused. It comes from an extremely liberal friend I assumed was a feminist until she said, "No, I'm a people person, so I don't want to associate myself with a group that antagonizes anyone." It comes from the boyfriend who told me I was aggressively wary for pointing out a double standard in a movie. It comes from commentators who left threats when I published an article about sexists on online dating sites. Susanna Weiss is writing this almost 80 years after the time of your greatest human champion, William Moulton Marston, when he revealed your story to the world, and hoped in this way to telegraph the essential message of feminism, which is a hopeful message about women being able to be wonderfully, fully themselves, and men too. For feminism is about that too, male liberation from oppressive patterns that hurt them, and that gets translated into hurting women. This reminds me of a t-shirt another associate minister I once served with used to wear. He is male. The words on the t-shirt read, "This is what a feminist looks like." The stares he got were really strange. So what? We all need to be feminists these days. When, for example, women's reproductive rights are being strangled, Margaret Sanger would be rolling in her grave right now if she knew. The days cry out for feminism, despite the consequences of loneliness. Something that the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung once said comes to mind. He said, Wonder Woman, he said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that are important to you." Wonder Woman, even with your powerful image out there and all the gains that women have had over all the years, still people have a hard time receiving the message of feminism, and it makes the sender of that message lonely. Wonder Woman, I am grateful for you. Above all, grateful for the example of how you stood up for your dream in the face of your mother's disapproval. You teach us that the worst loneliness of all is that of staying with what is easy when your heart yearns for something else that may reignite your joy, and it is hard. You teach us that the worst loneliness is self-doubt and self-contempt. You teach us that the worst loneliness is not being able to hear yourself. The worst loneliness is being lonely for yourself. Who will I be if I stay? This is what you brought to me when you came back to my life in 2017, when I turned 50. So I was deep in my loneliness, and I needed this wisdom so badly. You are the child of the union of the Amazon queen and of Zeus, the greatest god of them all. You come from no less than them. And even so, you can feel vulnerable, no less than a friend of Superman and Batman and all the others in the Justice League of America can feel vulnerable. But you showed up, and you showed up again and again with courage. While my 8-year-old self hunkered down in a booth at the McNamara Cafe and gobbled down gravy French fries and gulped orange pop, I was eating this up too. I was being spiritually nourished by your example, and I needed it then, I need it now, I will always need it. May more and more people show up with courage, inspired by you. I am yours sincerely. 8-year-old Tony. 56-year-old Anthony. Let's say our chalice extinguishing words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion call to lead us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our heart meet to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. So how many of you do yoga? Okay, if you don't do yoga, that's fine, but there's a word that we use in yoga class called asana. Asana is a position that you find your way into yoga classes. And I want to teach you right now the Wonder Woman asana. I'm going to teach that to you right now. It is a great position to embody when you are open to allowing yourself to feel the wonderfulness that is in you. It is, in fact, so powerful that it will instantly trigger your inner critic, who will want to make you small. You do, I guarantee you do this Wonder Woman asana, and that inner critic's going to say, who do you think you are? Look what you are looking like. You look crazy. You look ridiculous. The inner critic will blast you with a dose of shame. Just be forewarned to anyone who wishes to join me in this asana. This is purely on a volunteer basis. You do not have to do that. So you ready? Wonder Woman asana goes like this. All right, hands on your hips. Your feet are out like this, wider than your hips. Okay, I got to get hip replacement surgery, so this is painful, but whatever, right? Okay, like this, all right? Chest out. Oh, yeah. And then your chin is up, and then you're going to smile like you got a secret. Just, ugh. All right, let me see. Oh, wait. I gotta take a picture of this. Keep it going, I know, all right, here we go. Wonder Woman. Oh my God, show me that smile. Here we go, chest out. May you be more fully yourself this day, this week, this month, your entire life. Wonder Woman. Be wonderful. So may it be.